speaking to Katie Jones from TBWA Dublin. She is the strategic planner and winner of the IAPI Doyenne Rising Star Award for 2017. Katie, will you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure, yeah. So my job at TBWA Dublin is a strategic planner, and that means that I essentially craft strategies for brands and for campaigns. So as part of that, I look for consumer insights that will essentially form the basis for these campaigns. And I do that by conducting extensive consumer research, so the likes of focus groups and quantitative research.
Katie, you've done a lot of work on Gen Z focus groups, and can you explain, for those who might not know, how you would segment the youth market?
Sure. So Gen Z is essentially teenagers, and millennials are technically 18 to 35-year-olds. I don't necessarily think it's sufficient to target such a big group, so usually what I would do is to split millennials up, as many marketers do. So 18 to 25-year-olds are essentially neo-millennials, and then it's the wider kind of 25 to 35 that are actually the millennials.
And what have you found from your research and your focus groups, how these consumers differ from the older consumers and what their relation to brands is these days?
I suppose the biggest difference with Gen Z and millennials is probably the fact that they have absolutely no loyalty whatsoever to brands. I feel like slightly older millennials and baby boomers would have a much more in-depth relationship with brands. They would be much more loyal to specific products. And Gen Zs and millennials just don't have that. They kind of tend to pick and choose from a selection of brands and brands that add value to their life, but they wouldn't necessarily be tied to a small amount of them as we would.
How would you see that this has changed the advertising industry? I mean, it must have had a huge impact on how it works and how you kind of target people, I suppose.
I think ultimately brands need to reconsider the value that they're actually adding to people's lives. I don't think it's sufficient anymore to just go out with a campaign and not be actually engaging with the likes of Gen Zs and millennials. I think you need to be much more human as a brand, and having conversations with these people and getting to know them. It's very much kind of a one-to-one relationship, rather than just kind of putting out communications and hoping that people respond to it, which I think is quite significant.
And do you think this is an exciting change for the industry? What's exciting you most at the moment?
I think what we're seeing with brands is that they're pushing the boundaries with their advertising. I think there's so much noise and so much clutter these days in advertising that it's really, really hard to cut through and to actually resonate with people. So I think in order to do that, brands do have to be much more disruptive in their advertising, and I think that's something that's really exciting.
Great. Thanks for talking to us today, Katie.
Thank you.